Welcome to Retirement Decoded with your host, Scott Tucker, where we break down the complexities of retirement planning to give you clear, actionable advice. Whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, Scott's here to help you make informed decisions and secure your financial future. Tune in each week as we simplify the process and decode the path to a stress-free retirement. Now, here's your host, Scott Tucker.
Well, you're listening to Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. Welcome to the podcast. My trusty sidekick, as most of the time, is Associate Advisor Andre Hootie. Say hello, Andre Hootie.
Hello, Andre Hootie.
Well, Andre Hootie, we have in the listener mailbag today a question from Patricia. And Patricia writes the podcast. She says, Scott, I have 70% of my retirement funds with TIAA CREF and in a 403B and a 457B. So TIAA CREF usually means that Patricia might be a teacher or somewhere in education, maybe works at a university or something.
Yeah, something like that.
She has 70% of her retirement funds with TIAA CREF, and she has it in a 403B. Now, a 403B is like a 401k for a nonprofit.
Yep.
So it sounds again like she's in education. Well, Andre, your wife's in education.
She is. She has a 403B too.
Yeah, see, your wife's in education. She's been trying to learn you for a long time now.
Yep.
And then a 457B, Patricia also has a 457B. And a 457B, of course, Andre, is a deferred comp plan. Mm-hmm. And they're really just about the same thing.
Yep, exactly. I don't think anybody's ever come into our office and said, hey, I have a 457. It's no, I have a deferred comp plan.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is, but it's deferred comp.
Yeah, so the tax treatment on a traditional 401k, 403B, 457, even a TSP, which is, Andre,
Thrift savings plan.
A thrift savings plan for our federal workers. So 401k, 403B, 457B, and TSP, they're darn near the same thing. In many cases, they're just traditional, so they're just a tax-deferred savings vehicle. They do have Roth versions of all of those, which is funny. There's a Roth 401k, a Roth 403b. There's a Roth deferred comp, which so you're actually paying the tax now, so you don't pay it later, which I actually prefer for most clients. I think it's a better way to go. So there's a Roth 457b. So there's a Roth deferred comp. There's also Mike Tyson's on the program. Celebrity endorsement. Celebrity voice impersonated. There's also a Roth TSP, a Roth thrift savings plan. Easy for you to say. And you know, we have a client who's a federal employee, and he has a Roth TSP, and so I don't think he wasn't using it when he first came in.
He didn't even know that it was a thing.
Yeah, most federal workers, and it happens with other plans too, but most federal workers don't know there's a Roth version of TSP, and that you can save in the TSP in the Roth side, max it out. Right now, if you're over 50 years of age, this is 2024, and this won't age well. Right now, you can do, if you're 50 or older, or 50 or more experienced, Andre. Right. Less offensive. So you're 50 or older, you can do $30,500. You can put into your Roth TSP, let's say, or the rest of those. And then on a TSP, there's also a 5% match. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Well, and you know, and in all fairness, I don't want to blame our client or anything. There was no way he could know, because it was a newer feature. Like most plans, it is a newer feature, and they really don't go out of their way to let you know that that's now an available feature.
You know what they do, Andre? They treat them like a mushroom.
Yeah.
They you know how this goes. I had a client a number of years ago. He said, my family treats me like a mushroom. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, they keep me in the dark, and they feed me horse blank. Well, he's busy. The client that we have that works for federal government, he's week to week flying around the country. He's probably on the road like 3 weeks a month.
Yeah.
And they're just like, here's your TSP or whatever, and they go log in.
And they don't even like tell him what to invest in, how to invest. There really is no help for them.
You know, if you're a federal employee or you know somebody who is, a crazy thing about TSP, the thrift savings plan, the majority of them that we look at, they do not require the federal employee to set up a beneficiary.
Which is crazy.
So then the beneficiary is the estate, and it's just a big mess. We have a client that passed away in his 50s, kind of young. His mom's now a client. This client, he was a client for a minute, then he passed away. We didn't get to do everything with him that we wanted to. And so his 457 did not have a beneficiary on it. We were about to fix that. He passed away suddenly in an accident, and his 457 went through the pecking order. He had a girlfriend, but he wasn't married, so then she doesn't get anything. Mm-hmm. he had a brother and a sister, but the probate order in Illinois, where we are, and we can help people all across the country, so we're federally licensed in that. But the pecking order in Illinois is that if you didn't name the beneficiary on your TSP and your thrift savings plan, your parents get it. He didn't have any children. He didn't have a spouse. His siblings didn't get it. His mom got it. And then his mom was in her 90s.
Oh, man.
And so then she has giant required minimum distributions every year on a traditional thrift savings plan.
Yeah.
So it's now an inherited IRA, but the rules are she has to take giant RMDs out of it.
Yeah, and then and just a little bit of tax planning ahead of time could have, not even tax planning, just a little bit more planning.
Yeah, so he of course passed too soon for his own, just by age. He was in his 50s. But also, we had just started working together, and it just, you can't do all of that within a very short time frame. We can do it in a pretty short time frame, but it takes a little bit to get this sorted out. If you haven't been weeding the garden and it wasn't his fault, really, he didn't know what to do. A lot of folks don't. So Patricia says, I have 70% of my retirement funds with TIAA CREF and a 403B and a 457B, which again is a deferred comp plan. Scott, what does this phrase mean? Oh, I beat that like a dead horse. We already know what the phrase means now. I met with an advisor yesterday, and she was talking about guaranteed lifetime income. In the same sentence, she said annuity. Thank you. Though there's something that I don't like is she's leading with, hey, I already have the answer. It's an annuity. I don't really care for that. I don't care for that talk. But the other thing that came to mind, TIAA CREF, oftentimes we see that folks at TIAA CREF have sold a number of people variable annuities in their 403B and then their 457B.
And those are not really safe.
Yeah, variable annuity has market risk on the cash account. And usually the fees can vary wildly. But we usually see fees on variable annuities, not specific to TIAA CREF, just kind of variable annuities across the board. It seems to be they're somewhere between 3 and 5% a year in annual fees. What I don't like about that, the way that most clients that come to us with a variable annuity discover that is we do a 3-way call or a speakerphone call to the insurance company, and we have a list of fees that it's like you have to pull the answers out of the phone rep.
Yeah, and you have to know the name of the fees.
Oh, yeah, because most of the times when we call an insurance company or a plan about a variable annuity, we'll say, well, we have so-and-so on the phone, and they give us permission to ask the questions and be on the call with them. We'll usually do it on speakerphone, or we do it on a three-way call if you don't live in Chicago. And we'll say, we need to talk about the fees. And they'll say, well, the fees are 1% a year. And I'm like, as if I were born yesterday. Yeah, seriously. I say, okay, well, how much is the mortality and expense fee? And the client looks at me like I have 3 heads, and the phone rep says, once they hear that, they know they got a pro right there, Andre. They know we're going to get them.
Yep, they do.
So how much is the mortality and expense fee? Oh, that's 1%. And how much is the income rider fee? Well, that's 1%. How much is the cost of the underlying mutual funds? Well, that's 1%. How much is the admin fee? Well, that's, and then I add it all up and say, we'll say like, well, that adds up to, we saw one recently, it was 2.7% with all the fees together. Mm-hmm. I've seen one in a couple of years ago. I saw a couple of them almost back to back that were 4.6% per year.
I just did one a few weeks ago that was 4.1.
Oh, goodness. It's depressing.
It really is. And the client was shocked that she had
nobody knows.
No.
And nobody's going to tell them.
Yeah, and she's had that annuity for like 8 years. She had no idea she was paying over 4% a year.
Say you're paying 4% a year for 8 years. That sounds suspiciously like 32%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my hillbilly redneck math.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good return for the annuity company.
I'm not necessarily a hillbilly redneck, but I did grow up in Michigan, and I did grow up squirrel hunting.
Well, so
that's
too far. Cousins.
You might be a redneck. Oh boy. Michigan's a different place. Here in Chicago, you tell people that you went squirrel hunting when you're in 8th grade, then they look at you funny.
Oh, they do.
Or they just look at you funny anyway.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my face.
Where I grew up, we had in 7th grade boys gym class, we had hunter safety class, we had textbooks and overhead projector and all this stuff.
See, that's like the stuff that you need to learn as a kid. How to survive.
You need to learn when mink trapping season is in the Upper Peninsula?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I grew up in the Lansing, Michigan area there in DeWitt, Michigan, home of the DeWittians. And But we had to learn all of the hunting for all the permits and all the other things for the whole state of Michigan. There's a mink trapping season.
I did not know that.
Hey, Andre, you want to get Lauren a new mink coat?
I might.
How badly?
You know any good spots?
Area code 906.
Okay, I just need a couple weeks off.
A couple weeks off? No, come on now. We should go mink trapping and go get Lauren a coat.
I'll try to sew it myself. It'll be a handmade.
It'll be classy. So Patricia says, I have 70% of my retirement funds with TAA, CREF, and a 403B and 457. What does this phrase mean? Those are just they're almost like types of 401ks. You just say that. I met with an advisor yesterday, and she was talking about guaranteed lifetime income. Whenever you hear guaranteed lifetime income, that means some kind of income rider. And that is going to be on some sort of annuity. And it could be a variable annuity. It could be a fixed index annuity. Those are the two that would have that. In the same sentence, she said annuity. That's why. And thank you. Well, thank you, Patricia. Andre, a lot of folks that we help work in education, like Patricia. She didn't say that, but we got to figure it out, don't we? She's at TIA CREF. Mm-hmm. She's got a 403B, meaning she's at a nonprofit, and then she's got a 457. You know what? A 457, though, that's usually a government plan.
Yeah, I mean, I had a client that was a building inspector that had a 457.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Patricia seems to have a background in education, and maybe in the nonprofit, like a high school or a school district can be nonprofit and have 403B. Yeah. A 457. I would expect that's some kind of a federal government type of deal. It could be something else. It could be county. It could be a number of things.
Yeah, could be.
Patricia, you are complicated. Did you know that? Thank you for putting up with all the brats. Well, I don't know what she's doing. She might be putting up with brats, Andre. maybe older brats.
Maybe
there's some adults are brats.
We come across quite a few, don't we?
Oh, I wasn't talking about that. I meant like college kids.
Well, even that. I don't know if there's an age maximum for being a brat.
There's no maximum, no minimum.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you grow out of it. Hopefully. I was kind of projecting onto Patricia that maybe she's like a middle school teacher or something like that.
Well, Lauren
middle school could be rough.
Oh, Lauren tells me they shared the school with the middle school. Man, those kids are out of control.
So Lauren teaches 4th grade, but then they share the building with the middle school?
Yeah.
And the middle school kids she thinks are worse than the 4th grade kids?
Oh, yeah. Well, the 4th grade is like the last year of like innocence you get. Then they just all start getting bratty. That's the first year of brat.
Fifth grade is the first year of being a brat.
Yep.
Wow. That kind of makes sense. I'm kind of thinking back in my own younger days. It's ways back there.
That puberty, it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
You start acting out.
We had in DeWitt, Michigan, home of the DeWittiets, we had Mr. Holmes in 4th grade, and this was in the it was probably like 1983 or 1982, old school, Andre. Mm-hmm. And two of my friends were talking in class, and they're not supposed to be. I think it was my friend Ralph Garver was talking, and he was sitting next to Rob McConnell, another friend of mine.
Oh, I know Ralph well.
Oh, you've heard about Ralph Garver. So I think it was Ralph Garver was talking when he wasn't supposed to be in the math lesson, and Mr. Holmes had we used to have the chalkboards, not whiteboards, we had chalkboards, and there's this dusty it's got this chalk dust on this eraser, one of those black erasers, and it's full of white chalk dust. And Rob McConnell, in 4th grade, he had a kind of a big head, and physically, he wasn't arrogant. He had kind of a big head, and he kind of looked like a Neil Cavuto.
I'm not sure who that is.
Neil Cavuto's on Fox Business now. He used to be on CNBC or something, I think.
If I saw him, I'd probably recognize him.
So Neil Cavuto, picture a 4th grade kid with a big head, and he was part Mexican or something, but he had really dark, thick black hair. So a little 4th grader with a giant head with a lot of black hair, real thick like that. Mm-hmm. Mr. Holmes, he had a little bit of a temper. Uh-huh. And this is back in the 80s. You could get away with being mean to the kids. Right. And so Mr. Holmes wound up like it was a fastball pitch, and he was aiming for Ralph Garver, who was talking, and he hit Rob McConnell in the head right next to him. And it was like the JFK assassination, back into the right. Was it back into the right? Something like that. And all you saw was a big poof. cloud of white chalk dust. And then for the rest of the day, Rob McConnell looked like he had gray hair. So now you've got a fourth grade Neil Cavuto with gray hair.
Oh, perfect.
Who's partially Hispanic, I think. His name was McConnell, so he was probably part Irish, but I thought one of his parents, I think, was of Mexican descent and that. So, he looked a little bit Hispanic. He looked like a slightly Hispanic Neil Cavuto with gray hair. But he was in fourth grade. That's why you don't talk in class on it.
Yeah, no, but that's when they used to be able to discipline people still.
Yeah. So Lauren teaches fourth grade. She doesn't get away with that.
No,
she can't throw erasers at the kids.
No, she can't even yell at the kids.
Oh, come on.
It's like very barely. Like she can barely raise her voice.
Well,
if she
you
says
should be
extra. It's emails after school, all the parents. It never
no.
ends. And it's like 8 p.m., 9 p.m. She's still getting emails.
Oh, come on. You should be able to yell at the kids so long as you give them a participation trophy that they get to participate in a scolding. They don't get to talk back. That's not participation.
Nope.
I get to talk. You get to listen.
There you go. That's participation.
I missed John Wayne. If you miss John Wayne, get on our phone calendar, 15 minutes for free in the coming week with one of our financial planners at tuckerretirement.com. Well, Andre, yet another podcast episode has come to a close. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. We'll talk to you in the next episode.
Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. A Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The views and opinions herein are those of Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc.